Hello, Internet Land. Welcome to another episode of the Author Interview Plunge. Today's author is Keith Guernsey. Keith retired after over 40 years in sales and sales management with several Fortune 500s, but business is not Keith's genre. Keith writes about sports and from a unique perspective. He's been active in sports since childhood and in 1995 was diagnosed with a life-threatening acoustic neuroma brain tumor. He survived a 10-hour operation only to have the neuroma return 2 years later. A second, more complex operation resulted in a complete cure, but it also resulted in Keith putting on over 100 pounds. Now Keith has lost 135 pounds, and I hope he explains that one to me, and has written 2 books about his love of sports and how a sports mindset has helped him overcome adversity. Please welcome Keith Guernsey. Hooray! Okay. Thank you for being here today, Keith. We're going to go right into the questions.
Okay.
Tell us about the books you've written.
Well, I originally, Joseph, I never intended to become a writer. All I was doing was putting down memories on paper of games played in, games I went to, Fenway Park, Foxborough, the Boston Garden, and, page here, a paragraph there, and with no intent of becoming a writer or writing a book. And then 21 years ago, I met my inspiration, my lovely wife, Susan, and she encouraged me to keep writing. So I did. And one page became a chapter, and one chapter became 5 chapters. And, I had lots of memories and met a lot of famous athletes. And I was very fortunate to sit in the right field grandstand in the 1975 World Series and watch my beloved Red Sox blow a 3-0 lead. But that brings back very poor memories, so we'll skip over that one just a little bit. But I really had no intention of writing a book and just kept plugging away for years and years and years until I met Susan. She encouraged me to finish the book, and as a matter of fact, we moved here to Crestwood on Lake Lanier 4 years ago, and she essentially said, and I'll clean it up just a little bit, but basically she said, I have been hearing about this book for 15 years. You are retired. We have the time. Finish the darn book. And I did.
Very good.
And I had, 4 goals. Finish the book, which I did. Get it on Amazon, which I did. Sell a copy, which I did. And get a decent review, which I also did.
Congratulations. Good.
Thank you.
So Susan is your wife.
Yes.
And my next question is, what do you feel is your key to success? And I suppose it's Susan saying, write the darn book.
Well, yeah, then in a nutshell, absolutely. She's been very helpful. She's always been my inspiration, my support network. And the fact that she came to me with a journalism degree from the University of Iowa certainly didn't hurt.
Yeah.
And she, gave me suggestions, and we used to talk about my writing all the time, to the point where she's now become a writer.
Wow.
And so we're a two-writer family, if you will.
Yeah, let's interview her too next.
Well, we can certainly do that. We'll set her right up. As a matter of fact, she started a writers group here at Crestwood, and we're having a lot of fun with that. But, she's been my inspiration, my everything, and encouragement along the way to take the second book, or take the first book and write a sequel, which I did, and that was published last year. It was very successful. I've had a lot of wonderful reviews and comments from my readers on both of my books.
Excellent. So you've been married 21 years now?
We have been married, we just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We had a wonderful celebration. As a matter of fact, it's kind of still going on. It's been about 6 months.
Oh,
we'll keep celebrating until we hit 25, and then we'll switch gears to the 25th celebration.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you have to tell us a story about meeting your wife.
Well, it actually is an interesting story. We were both single at the time. This is the second for both of us. And I had a condo just north of where you are on Lake Winnipesaukee. And I was a bachelor and had been for 17 years until I answered a personal ad in the Foster's Daily Democrat. It wasn't even supposed to carry up to the Lakes region because it's based in Dover. But I answered the ad, and we met for dinner on a blind date. We met at a public place, just in case. We met at a Dunkin' Donuts.
All right.
One of us wanted to turn and run. We went out to dinner in Newburyport on the water, and we've been together ever since.
Congratulations. That's an excellent story.
You. Yeah.
So we know that you've had 2 bouts of this brain tumor,
yes,
life-threatening. And I have a toss-up question for you.
Okay.
Your biggest accomplishment, is it beating the tumors or marrying your wife?
Well, can I say 50-50?
You got to ask your wife.
Yeah, really. No, it was without question, it was meeting Susan, because I am convinced that if I hadn't met her, I wouldn't be here to talk to you today, without question.
Well, definitely thanks to Susan, and we'll have to get her up here too. So, okay, you write about sports, and you have used sports in your life as a metaphor for overcoming adversity. That's a very big thing to you. What is your biggest pet peeve in how people respond to sports?
Well, it isn't just responding to sports, it's people responding to life in general, people being critical of things that they can't control, being unduly angry with life, and just, not appreciating. I feel like after my surgeries, after meeting Susan, I have a new appreciation. Every day I wake up and my feet hit the floor, and it's a wonderful day because it beats the alternative. That's my philosophy on life.
Yeah.
And just people who, my pet peeve in general is people who complain about the littlest picayune, things, and they just, it's hard to come to terms with that for me sometimes.
I understand. So you are obviously an optimist, having been through.
Without question.
Definitely. Good. And I also have to say, as a fellow New Englander, sometimes being an optimist helps with the Boston sports teams quite a bit.
Without question. Without question.
Okay.
The story that I tell, I wear my New England Patriots Super Bowl winning sweatshirt from last year and my Super Bowl winning hat from last year with a great deal of pride. And we live in Georgia now, so I get a lot of strange looks, especially because this is Atlanta Falcons territory. Mm-hmm. And after what we did in the Super Bowl, I just know that, there are a couple of guys out there who would just love to give me a knuckle sandwich. But and as a matter of fact, I got a strange look from one of Gainesville's finest the other day. He said, "I'll still hold the door for you, even though you're a Patriots fan." And I went out to his car and I told him my backstory and said that I sat in every frozen corner of Foxborough Stadium for 40 years watching the Patriots lose and lose and lose some more. And now that they have won 5 Super Bowls, I feel like I have earned the right to show my pride in their accomplishments.
Very good. So then you're in Georgia now. You're not in Massachusetts anymore.
Correct. Yeah, we moved 11 years ago. Susan got transferred with her employer right after a blizzard in April. She said, "I've been transferred to Georgia." I said, "Okay, let's go. I'm packed. Let's do it." And interestingly enough, we are in an active adult community where there are quite a few transplanted Bostonians. So we get a group of a half a dozen or so together when we watch the Patriots game together over in the clubhouse.
Okay. Next question. If you could have lunch with anyone from history, who would it be and why?
My late father. Our bond was, which I talk a lot about in my second book, our bond was second to none. He was, obviously I'm prejudiced, but he was the greatest parent of all time. and the greatest sports parent of all time. And I miss him terribly every day. And I would love to have one more lunch with him, just to talk about, or to explain, that I've lost all the weight that he wanted me to lose for so many years, and that I have married. He met Susan, but he never really got to know her all that well. So it would definitely be my dad. He, not only was a great parent, but a great sports parent, and he never crossed that invisible line and, yelled at an umpire or chastised a coach because I wasn't playing enough or anything like that.
That's wonderful. I'm happy that that is your choice. And by the way, for people who are watching this or listening to this from the website, Keith's books are available on the right-hand side of the website. Just click those and you can go immediately to Amazon and get them for yourself. Do you write more by logic or intuition, a combination of the two?
I write more by feel and intuition.
Uh-huh.
Because at this point, up to this point in time, I should say, I've primarily written nonfiction. Although, interestingly enough, I read a lot of fiction. Patterson, Baldacci, Grisham.
Mm-hmm.
Never really written any fiction yet, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to. But I write by more feel and intuition.
Okay. What is something memorable you've heard from readers or fans?
Just basically, a lot of positive comments. Both of my books carry a 4.7 out of 5-star rating on Amazon.
Wow.
And I've had people say, I highly recommend this book, very moving, well-written masterpiece.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been wonderful.
So you've got these 4.7 and better ratings on Amazon. Is that because your background in sales and sales management, you know how to market, or what?
I'm sure that's a large part of it. And I do spend some time every day on marketing, on social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, etc., sending out emails, attending book fairs, having book signings. So yeah, there's no question that helps a great deal.
Okay, excellent. That's good information for our authors out there. What question? I should probably have asked you this a while ago. What question do you wish that someone would ask you about you or your book, but nobody has?
See, that's an interesting question. I thought about that, and the only question I can think of is, can I get a quantity discount if I buy 100 copies?
Yeah, but your background in sales and sales management, okay, came through here a little bit.
Yeah.
Very good. So you mentioned that Susan, your wife, has the journalism degree. She helped you or pushed you a little bit. Did you write anything before these two books? I mean, if you were in sales, you probably wrote advertising copy or commented on it.
Well, I wrote proposals, sales proposals, and that type of thing. But in terms of writing to put it on paper to incorporate into a book, no.
Okay, so this was really Susan looking over your shoulder, I guess, a little bit.
Well, to a certain extent, and not just looking over my shoulder, but being my inspiration, being my sounding block, encouraging and supporting everything I did and everything I wrote.
Excellent. You mentioned that you read Baldacci, you read Grisham.
Mm-hmm.
What are your top writing influences? Your favorite books? Your favorite author?
Well, I would say Patterson is definitely my favorite author. Just the imagination, the fact that he has so many different books going, the fact that for me, I've been a reader, but not always a real avid reader. But when I pick up a Patterson like a Michael Bennett or an Alex Cross, even though it's 400 pages, I can sit and polish it off in one day. That to me is the mark of a book that really captures my interest. It's a page turner, and I will not put it down until I'm finished.
Good, excellent. That's what we used to call engagement.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he does it. He does it
Yep.
for me, Patterson.
Excellent. What do you do? You're down in Georgia now. You have all your Boston sports buddies.
Right.
What do you do to spend time when you're not writing? What gives you enjoyment? What's fun down?
Well, we have a new grandson.
Oh,
He'll be 2 in January, and it's our first and only grandchild. He's back in Boston, so I get the most enjoyment out of getting on a plane with Susan, and we come back and see him usually twice a year, spring and fall. And that, I love to travel. We have a little rescue dog that we take with us when we go down to the Florida Panhandle, but obviously he's too much of a senior dog to travel on a plane, so we leave him behind when we go up to Boston for a week.
I understand. You mentioned that you have these 2 books done, and you have other things in your mind. What do you see yourself doing writing-wise in 5 years? What other books or things do you think you'll be doing? You mentioned maybe fiction.
Well, that's a possibility. Susan started a great fiction. We talked about a co-authoring.
Yeah.
And Susan started a great book on fiction, on a story that's somewhat related to an active adult community like where we live. And I've tried to plant the seed of us co-authoring it and finishing it and getting it out there, and having the success that I've had with my 2 books. Nothing is imminent, but I'm still working on it, which is where my pleasantly persistent sales background comes into play. So in a year or so, you should probably look for it on your store shelves.
In a year or so, you're going to have to contact us and let us know, and
absolutely,
we'll put something up there for you.
Absolutely. As far as 5 years from now, that is to be determined. I have a couple of other ideas of couple local sports celebrities down here that would make fascinating case studies that I'd like to write about.
Okay, so you kind of like biography of your sports heroes.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. Excellent. With your extreme sports background, I'm sure that would be a devastating read because you know the material. I mean, it's part of your life. So
exactly. I feel very strongly internally that I have a bestseller right inside of me.
Good. What's item number 1 on your bucket list?
Item number 1 on my bucket list is to live to the century mark, to live till I'm 100. Now that, my health is back in order, so to speak, and I've taken off the weight, and I'm truly healthier at 65 than at any time since I was 25, I would like to live with Susan by my side, of course, until I'm 100 years old.
Here's to it.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing in the world to make the world a better place, what would that one thing be?
I would take every semi-automatic and automatic weapon out of the hands of everyone but law enforcement. Hunters don't use semi-automatic or automatic weapons. People who have home protection have pistols. There is no reason for anyone other, in my opinion, no reason for anyone other than law enforcement to have semi-automatic or automatic weapons.
Very good. I hope I'm not damaging either of our careers, but I totally agree with you. Okay, last question. If you could have been the author of any book ever written, which book would you wish you had authored?
I wish I had authored the Patriots life story. I'm looking at it now, Total Patriots, and I wish I had written that.
You're a sports fanatic through and through.
I am. Guilty as charged.
Okay. I am through with my questions. Is there anything you want to share that we haven't covered?
No, I can't think of anything. I'm just very grateful that we're doing this and that you've taken the time to, out of your busy schedule, to interview me. And I just want to wish you and yours the happiest of holidays.
Yes, thank you so much. For our listeners and people watching the video, we are actually recording this in middle December. It's going to appear in 2018. But thank you. The best to you and yours as well. And everybody who's watching and listening, hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Take care. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.